Here we see a tomb, a much more imposing structure than most other memorials. A tomb is not to be confused with a mausoleum, but they share many similarities. A tomb is an above-ground burial receptacle, which, as my notes go flying away in the rain, which usually houses the remains of only a few people, mostly intended for family members. A mausoleum often houses the remains of many unrelated people and is owned communally by the cemetery. Carson's tomb employs classical architecture. Specifically, we see elements of Greek architecture with the Doric order columns here, often then used to evoke permanence and reinforce the importance of the entombed individual.
Like a number of other of the early lumber barons in Eau Claire, William Carson was born in Canada in 1819. He immigrated to the United States in 1834 and came to western Wisconsin in the late 1830s and operated a sawmill at O'Gale in Dunn County for decades until all the timber had been cut off in that region. He moved to Eau Claire in 1874 and became manager of the Valley Lumber Company. Also partnered for a while with George Buffington and had numerous other business interests and became quite wealthy. In 1892, he was one of the 8 Eau Claire residents who were identified by the New York Times as millionaires. In politics, he was a Gold Democrat and an acquaintance of President Grover Cleveland. Not surprisingly, he did not support the national Democratic ticket in 1896 that was headed by the populist William Jennings Bryan, who ran on an inflationary program of monetization of silver. Carson died in 1898. He had married Mary Smith in Prairie du Chien in 1847 and had 6 legitimate children. In 1914, these children purchased what was then called Shaw's Island from the Daniel Shaw Lumber Company and donated it to the city of Eau Claire to become a park that would be named for their father. As heirs of Carson, they also had to litigate an embarrassing challenge to his will. Henrietta Proctor went to court claiming that she was Carson's daughter. Carson and her mother had cohabitated in O'Gale in 1846 and 1847, despite her mother being married to another man at the time. The Carson heirs won their case. The judge followed the principle that a child's father is presumed to be the man married to the child's mother unless there is substantial evidence otherwise. Naturally, Carson became the subject of finger-wagging gossip. Henrietta was buried in 1927 in Arlington National Cemetery, and the name on her burial marker is Henrietta Carson Proctor.